So we just got a huge win in the state of California. The California ammunition ban, the background check system, the importation of ammunition restrictions, your ability to buy online and have it shipped directly to you, was just struck down in the state of California by the amazing Judge Benitez. So let's talk about what is happening in this case, Rody v. Bonta. But real quick before we jump into this video, if you agree that California's ammunition restrictions are clearly unconstitutional, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. Also, I want to thank one of the main supporters of this channel, which is 1st Phorm. A lot of you guys know and you've noticed that I've kind of been losing some weight. One of the companies I've been working with is 1st Phorm, and they're actually doing something really cool for my audience here. If you sign up using the links down below, you will not only get amazing products, but for everybody who is coming to 1st Phorm for the first time, you will get a free 30-day application, a free 30-day app essentially through 1st Phorm, which is an app that's all about fitness. It tracks your macros, you get a personal trainer, and a lot of other things. So it's an amazing app. I really enjoy using it. It's really helpful for the whole weight loss thing that I'm doing. So again, check out 1st Phorm, use the links down below. And if it's your first time, again, you will get that free 30-day trial. So as I mentioned, we have some really important news in California. As I mentioned, this morning I was waking up and then all of a sudden my phone was getting blown up by everybody. And we got a decision in the Rody v. Bonta California ammunition restriction case. It's a lawsuit that's been going on for a really long time, and we've been waiting for a decision. And we just got an order from Judge Benitez. He has recently struck down this ammunition restriction in the state of California. He struck down multiple aspects of the ammunition restriction, the background check system, and then also importantly, and a lot of you are probably very interested in this, the importation restrictions, which put restrictions on your ability to purchase ammunition online or out of state and then have it shipped directly to you, and all those restrictions that made you actually have to purchase ammunition and then have it sent to an FFL. This is a huge win that permanently enjoins California from enforcing the law, but we need to talk about what this decision says and then pretty much what happens now, because I know a lot of you are going to be very curious. Now, again, from the outset, although I am a licensed and practicing attorney in the state of California, this by no means is legal advice, but I'm just going to give you guys an overview of what the decision says. So Rody is one of those cases that California gun owners have been waiting for from a very long time. We've been waiting for this decision. We got the decisions in Miller and Duncan from Judge Benitez, but Rody was kind of that last one that was pending. Well, now we have a decision on the merits of this case. And again, that's significant because although this case is probably going to be appealed going forward, this is an actual merits decision. So it's a final review by Judge Benitez in the lower court. And his final review of this case essentially strikes down the background check system, as well as those importation restrictions on ammunition that essentially limited your ability to purchase ammunition online or bring it within the state without first going through an FFL. There are some things I'm not a huge fan of in this decision, but I think a lot of that just has to do with the specific procedures and the specific history about this case. One of the things I was not a huge fan of was he was talking about maybe a 4-year permit. But again, that I think is because of the nature of what happened in California and Proposition 63, how it was originally proposed. So the short and sweet of this decision is that Judge Benitez has permanently enjoined the enforcement of various sections of the California Penal Code, which apply to ammunition. The conclusion of the order simply states that the ammunition background check laws have no historical pedigree and operate in such a way that they violate the Second Amendment right of citizens to keep and bear arms. The anti-importation components violate the Dormant Commerce Clause, and to the extent applicable to individuals traveling in California, are preempted by Section 18 U.S.C. Section 926A. Perhaps the simpler 4-year and $50 ammunition process purchase permit approval by the voters in Proposition 63 would have been far better. So there he's alluding to the original Proposition 63, which was proposed by the state of California, but then was later changed, and now we have what we have in California. He goes on to state that, accordingly, the court permanently enjoins the state of California from enforcing the ammunition sales background check provisions found in California Penal Code sections 30352 and 30370A through E, and the ammunition anti-importation provisions found in sections 330, 312A and B, and 30314 subsection A. Criminal enforcement of California Penal Code sections 30312 subsection D and 30314 subsection C and 30365 subsection A by the Attorney General and all other law enforcement defendants is permanently enjoined. Now you may be asking, what does this mean? I know that was a lot of penal codes, but this is important. Essentially, all the ammunition background check requirements and the importation restrictions have been struck down and permanently enjoined. Also, the criminal penalties for violating those sections were also struck down. Now, I will say what's important about this decision is it's a little bit different from some of the other decisions that we saw in other cases out of Judge Benitez, in the Miller case, in the Duncan case. If you may recall, those orders by Judge Benitez struck down those laws, but immediately stayed his decision for 10 days, allowing the state of California to seek a stay from the higher court and then also appeal. Well, if you read this decision in Rody, there is none of that present. This case in Rody, there is no stay. So I'm trying to gather more information. I've had some information from gun owners of California and some of these other state organizations. But essentially what they're saying is they agree with me that this is a permanent injunction striking down these California ammunition restrictions altogether, and there is no stay. So it's essentially in effect immediately. Now, again, although I'm a licensed and practicing attorney, this is not legal advice. I think one of the interesting things we're going to see play out now is how some of these online dealers and online sellers and out-of-state retailers respond to this order. But my understanding is that a stay is currently not in place. The decision is in place, and the order permanently enjoining the ammunition restrictions is in place for right now. And we could be experiencing maybe another Freedom Week, but as far as just for ammunition. So again, this would be important. Now, of course, this by no means that, I'm saying go do X, Y, and Z. I think you guys need to be smart about what happens. I'm just reading you the decision, the implications of the decision. And then I think it's going to be important to see how some of these retailers respond. No doubt California will file an appeal in the Ninth Circuit. And I know some people are already probably putting out videos saying, well, they're just going to appeal. They're just going to get a stay from the Ninth Circuit. And yes, eventually they will appeal up to the Ninth Circuit and probably will get a stay from the Ninth Circuit. But what's interesting about this specific order and this decision is the fact that a stay is not addressed at all by Judge Benitez. That means that under the federal rules, California will first need to go back to Judge Benitez himself and request a stay from him. Then he will decide if he wants to grant the stay or deny it. And if he denies a stay, then California can go crying up to the Ninth Circuit and seek an emergency stay and do all that they traditionally do. But as you can tell, all that can take time. And it probably will still take them a little bit of time. It probably will still be a fast process, but they still have to jump through all those hoops. And, California is going to jump through those hoops. But maybe during this process, we get a little bit of, Freedom Week, maybe a little bit of some, ammunition freedom. So we're going to be watching this very closely going forward, seeing how some of the retailers respond, once they get together with their legal counsel, see what, how they want to respond to this. It's going to be very interesting because of how this decision is written and the fact that there is no immediate stay on this decision. Now, I want to give you guys a quick summary of the rationale that Judge Benitez used striking down the ammunition restrictions. And essentially, first, he clearly says that it violates the Second Amendment. Under Bruen, Judge Benitez found that your ability to purchase, possess, and use ammunition is clearly conduct that is protected by the text of the Second Amendment. Therefore, the burden is on California to show some sort of historical evidence that supports this type of restriction. Judge Benitez found that there is no historical twins or even analogs that support this type of restriction. He states in his opinion that the state's ammunition background check regime turns that constitutional presumption the wrong way around. It treats all citizens as if they do not enjoy a right to buy ammunition. It forces Americans to entreat and supplicate the state for permission. Only when the state is satisfied that a citizen has proven that they meet the qualifications, only then does the state issue its stamp of authorization. This is not the language of a right. This is the language of a government license or a grant of a privilege. In the end, the state has failed to carry its burden to demonstrate that the ammunition background check laws are consistent with this nation's historical tradition of firearms regulation as required by Bruen. Bruen cautions courts should not uphold every modern law that remotely resembles a historical analog because doing so risks endorsing outliers that our ancestors would never have accepted. A sweeping background check requirement imposed every time a citizen needs to buy ammunition is an outlier that our ancestors would have never accepted for a citizen. Therefore, California's ammunition background check system laws are unconstitutional and shall not be enforced. So again, amazing and strong language out of Judge Benitez like he always issues. It's a solid decision. Some things I don't agree with it. Some of the language I don't like, but I think generally he got this right. Then he goes on to look at the ammunition laws and the importation restrictions under the Dormant Commerce Clause, and again, finds that this state ammunition restrictions essentially favors in-state ammo sellers. It favors them over out-of-state sellers and online sellers, and therefore it violates the Dormant Commerce Clause. So again, that's very important for a lot of people in California, like me as well, who have not been able to purchase online ammunition or out-of-state ammunition for a very long time. I think a lot of you now are wondering if you could maybe just go online and purchase ammunition, purchase and get it directly to your door. And the best answer I can give you guys right now is I'm not sure. We're still getting a lot of information from the organizations that are involved in this lawsuit. I think a lot of this also is going to be based on the sellers themselves. We even saw during Freedom Week that there were a lot of sellers who just would not sell to California gun owners. There's unfortunately a lot of online sellers and a lot of companies who generally have a policy not to sell to California. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out going forward. Again, they're probably going to get with their legal counsels, look at this decision and decide what they can and cannot do. By the time that some of these companies probably make those determinations of what they want to do, there could already be a stay from the court. They probably could already run up to the Ninth Circuit. So we're again going to have to wait and see how this plays out. This is going to be a very dynamic situation. It's going to be important to follow this as this develops because of some of the implications about your ability to purchase ammunition and a lot of the other things that go along with that. So regardless, huge win for California gun owners. The ammunition restrictions have been struck down by Judge Benitez. At the time of me filming this, there is no current stay on his decision, which again has serious implications. But again, if we get any more information, I will let you guys know. Also, if you like this video and you would like to support the channel, one of the best ways to do that is to like, comment, and subscribe. All those things help to fuel the algorithm, and it signals to YouTube that you guys see value in these videos in this type of 2A news. But as always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and never forget the nation was built by Armed Scholars, and the station will be maintained by Armed Scholars.